Hey guys, thanks for waiting. Thanks for tuning in. Round 7 live review. First of all, comment your thoughts. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Not the result we wanted. Put your thoughts in the comments and I'll go through them. I'll just kick it off. I think a little bit, to be honest. Steph, I think it feels like a lot of our losses, except for last week, have been very, very similar. In that you just feel like with a little bit more composure, a little bit more experience in some tight moments, that maybe we could snatch a few games that we didn't deserve to win. And you go back to the Geelong game in round 1, probably didn't deserve to win that, could have won that. You go back to GWS Giants, probably didn't deserve to win that, definitely didn't deserve to win that. Very, very close to winning that. And then tonight, again, didn't deserve to really be in that game at quarter time with the amount of shots that they missed, a lot of easy shots. So that's the first thing that I want to address, is that, yes, their inaccuracy kept us in the game long enough that maybe if we got our shit together that we could potentially win the game. But yeah, I just don't want to be, and I think Isaac nails it on the head here. You don't want to be known as that almost team, that team that, this year we're going to go through winning what? We're going to be having all these honorable losses. I just don't have time for that. I don't think anyone, any of us watching tonight has time for that. We want to be winning these close games. We want to be clutch. And it just feels very frustrating that for the majority of the game, I just feel like we were very timid. And even when, Port Adelaide were down on the bench, I felt like we had a little bit of a sniff, but I just felt like we didn't believe that we could win this game. I just get that sort of feeling across the board that, just the I don't know, the vibe I was getting was like, are we going to go there to just not get blown out of the water and be honorable? Or are we going to go there and stand tall and go toe to toe with them and look them in the eyes and think that we can really win this game, And I mean, there were patches of it there tonight, more so than last week, obviously. Obviously, tonight was a much improved effort across the board. I thought the backline was a little bit better. Dougal Howard looked very, very shaky. A lot of turnovers, not great on his part. Tough game to come back into when Charlie Dixon's returning, but still expected a bit more there. And then just going forward, I just felt like Caminiti was the only one. I don't know what you guys think, but I felt like Caminiti was the only one that really had any sort of impact, any sort of presence in the forward half to scare the opposition, to make them second guess going for the ball, because he was so physical. And even when the ball was at ground ball, he chased, he tackled. Sharman and Membry had one good moment in the game, and I'll be honest, and that was the third quarter where they kicked 2 consecutive goals. Sharman on the run, Membry with a good lead up. Apart from that, no presence from them at all. I went into this game thinking, and I was watching it with Jaden, and I was saying, I don't think we can win this game unless Membry kicks 4. I just don't. Or Membry and Sharman and Caminiti combine for 6 or something like that. They needed to stand up, and Caminiti did his part, but Sharman and Membry, I just think let the team down a little bit. And I've been saying that for the last couple of weeks, and I really wanted to see them stand up tonight, and I just didn't see it, especially in the absence of Max King again. You need that presence. Mitch Owens did it early, kicked a couple of goals. I thought he was better. Just a quick positive, though. Darcy Wilson. Can we all just put some praise in the comments for Darcy Wilson? I thought he was absolutely sensational again. He's so clean. He never looks tight. He's one of the rare players that looks confident, get the ball and run and open up the game. And it just looks like he wants to win the game and he believes we can win the game. And late in the last quarter, I think he had 7 or 8 disposals in the last quarter alone. He's the one player that you just have faith that if the game's tight and it's late in the game, that he's just going to be there to do something special and to give us every chance of winning. And he's doing that in his 6th game or whatever it is. He's all class. We're very, very happy with him. We should be very lucky that we've got him. And we just need other players to follow in that example that he's setting. And to be honest, he shouldn't be setting that example. And I thought tonight a lot of the youngsters did set that example. I thought the leaders, first of all, Rowan Marshall looked sore early. I don't know what the injury is there, but he fought it out like the warrior that he is. So that's just no surprise on my part. I thought Wilkie was better. I thought Wilkie started to intercept a little bit more. The last couple of weeks, I feel like he's been dropping a lot of those, but he started to get going. I liked putting Stocker in the midfield. If it wasn't Owens, it needed to be Stocker. We needed some physicality in there, and we got that. And I thought we negated Port Adelaide's ability to explode out of the middle, probably better than every team so far this year, apart from Collingwood, who actually beat them to it. But we don't have a Nick Dacos or a Pendlebury at the moment. Or a DeGoey. So we don't really have that star power, but the defensive side of it, Winhager, I thought there was some positives there. Again, it's just kind of these little things across the ground, If anything, I actually was more worried, and this is weird because I feel like it's actually our strength, the rebound from 50, but I was very nervous. Every time Port Adelaide kicked a point, which was a lot of them, as you guys know, I felt very nervous when we were kicking it out of defense because I just thought we would turn it over because we did it so many times. Bonner was going for some very outrageous kicks, and there's like risky kicks that you can go for, and you're like, yeah, no, maybe 5 times out of 10 you hit that and it opens up the game. But the one that I think that he went for that turned the ball over was, I think it was Ronnie Burns and Charlie Dixon in front of him, and then 4 Adelaide midfielders surrounding Ronnie Burns. So the kick had to be like the most perfect kick in AFL history, and I feel like we just bit off more than we could chew. And I think 3 of their goals in the first quarter were all turnover. So that was the most disappointing thing for me, is that even though they had a lot of chances, we still gave them some pretty easy goals. On our side, it wasn't really one of those games where we missed opportunities. I just felt like we just didn't pull the trigger early enough. GWS, I felt like we pulled it too late to go for it. In this game, when they're down 3 on the bench or whatever it was, I felt like we pulled it too late again. But we lose by 10. So it's kind of like, it's really hard to review because you're like, I felt like we weren't really that good. They missed a lot of chances, but we were in the game to snatch it. And I'm kind of getting over those sort of games where like, we're not good, but we are almost good enough to win the games. And you just wonder, like with Mason Wood and Liam Henry and maybe a Paddy Dow, Hunter Clark in the midfield, Brad Crouch, and a King forward of centre, how different maybe these sort of games would be. But I don't know. Ronnie Burns, his disposal was really tricky tonight. Hasty did all right, to be honest, when he came on. He had a bit of energy about him. I do think that having a full game from him would be good. But yeah, I think we were slow on transition, but I think that was kind of I would say that was deliberate. Avengers YT. I think that was a deliberate ploy based on what Ross said pre-game. He thought that, last week we had as many inside 50s as the Bulldogs, but he thinks that we went maybe too helter-skelter, considering especially the fatigue that the boys were in. But tonight he wanted to see a bit more control on the football, and I think that's what we got. Sometimes maybe too much control, and we could have pulled the trigger. There was a lot of players in the middle of the ground because Port Adelaide were guarding the wings quite well, but I felt like they left the middle of the ground a bit open. But we never really looked there until late. That example in the last quarter, I think it was, Brad Hill intercept and then goes into the midfield. We get a goal from it. We didn't do that enough times. And maybe a Jack Hayes tonight would have been handy. But yeah, it's just, I just hope that's not the tail of the tape for the season. I hope that we can really just once we get players back, we're playing quite a young team. I don't like using that as an excuse because it's not. Umpiring was shit. We'll get to that in a minute. But I don't know. Given the team that we're fielding, the players that we're missing, and where we're going and how we're competing, apart from last week, it's like positively annoying, like, because you're like, what if we had a full strength team tonight? We probably could win this game. But at the same time, it's like, but we're not winning the game. So it's just really frustrating. But from my side, just to summarize before we get into the comments, we just battled, and it's the same story in a lot of the season. We battle, we try really well. But there's just a few moments in games where the other team has a bit more star power, and we let them take control. We let them get momentum. They kick a couple of goals, and that's essentially it. That's the game. The Geelong game, there was a 5-10 minute period where they got ahead by 20. A couple of times that was enough to win. The Giants in spurts in the first, second, and third term, and then we came back. And then tonight, we were there probably outside of the first couple of minutes where they looked good, Port Adelaide, and they missed a lot of shots. And I think maybe it was the third where they got 20, maybe 21 ahead or something like that. We kept fighting. Yeah, but again, just that little bit of quality, that little bit of experience. I just wish we stopped handing teams a couple of easy goals. Like Port Adelaide don't need easy goals at Adelaide Oval. They're going to get them anyway with free kicks, just like the one that Charlie Dixon got directly in front, which I still don't know what it was for, but that wasn't the reason why we lost. The out of bounds from Burn Jones, tough one to take. That looked kind of in on an angle, looked out on an angle, very similar to the Jack Higgins one. So, you get them, you get some, and then you don't get some. So, yeah, that's just how it is. So I'm not going to blame the umps for anything, but I just feel like, yeah, there were some calls there that they missed. But let's go through the comments. Comment as constructively as you can. I know it's a very emotional thing, football, and we get very frustrated. But if you've got some constructive thoughts, please put them in the comments, and I will share them with everyone else. Adam's asking, what do you think of Stocker as a midfielder? Yeah, I thought it was actually good. I think given we're missing Crouch, and there's a weird reluctance to put Mitch Owens in there, which I would have done late in the game, especially if we wanted to win it, especially with Rowe struggling. I feel like having a bull like Owens at ground ball would be really effective. He did kick his couple of goals early, and that was great, but I feel like he's still more effective in the midfield. That's how I see it. But I liked Stocker in there. I thought it was a nice little mix-up. Darren says, how exciting was Wilson? Keeps being a shining light. Absolutely. Rising star nominee last week, so he's just going to get better and better. I'd like to think so. He's an experienced midfielder. He's got a bit more of that explosive pace out of the contest that we missed. And, you don't have Zachy Jones tonight. So our most explosive midfielder tonight was probably Marcus Winhager. If he's your most explosive midfielder, I don't know. That's not great. You need someone at that next level. And, Port Adelaide have got Rosie Butters and Horn Francis in there who all can explode out of the contest. Brian says, Jake, if we get our players back, we are still in this. We're playing poorly and just losing, but things will turn. Stay positive, Saners will come back. I like that. Thanks for that comment. Tell us what you really think, Kenny. Not very happy with the umps tonight. I don't know. What was the final count? 25-10? Not great. There were some very, very shoddy calls in there. It's just more those one-on-ones that you're like, they're both holding each other. They're both going for the ball. What are you paying? I don't understand that. And that a lot of them, it's always the forwards free kick. It's never benefit of the doubt defender. It just makes it impossible to defend. I don't know how defenders actually enjoy football now. Sammy says, our kids really showed their inexperience tonight. We have to take that and these honourable losses if we want to develop them. Dragons, his game was there for the taking and we blew it. Ryan Burns is absolutely terrible. They had 3 players out. Harrison Jones says, what happened with Steele? It didn't look 100% and leg is strapped. Same with King. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he's still nursing a bit of an injury there. Brandon says, sure, Saints will start winning close games this year or next year. Just takes time to be a Collingwood or a Carlton. Very scenario-based teams. I thought Higo was all right tonight, to be honest. I thought he battled really hard, kicked that goal late. I didn't mind his game. And yeah, Caminiti, Hammer, credit to Hammer. Put in the comments, give him some love. I thought he was really, really good tonight in the absence of Max King. Really impressive game from... And it wasn't just his goals. It was more that sort of aggressiveness around the ground that I probably haven't seen from him in other games. I thought he was pretty good tonight. Dylan says, still need to kick the ball more, less handballs to players. Yeah, and that was a big thing in the first half. I think we kind of slowly fixed it in the second half, but in the first half, we got out. We got through the midfield. We broke their zone, and you just needed that next kick of composure. And we just kept hot potatoing it around. Not really. No player wanted the responsibility to hit that target, and we would just give it to. No, you have it. No, you have it. No, you have it. We need players that want to take that ownership and put the responsibility on their shoulders. Joseph says coaching and tactics are the issue. They have been coached to be negative. I mean, given the outs and kind of, how strong Port are at home generally, I don't think we were too negative tonight. I think we were defensive, but that's generally the way we play. But like Ross said, even last week in the first quarter, we had the same amount of inside 50s as the Dogs. So we just aren't using it well going inside 50. We're just not. And we're leaking goals a bit too easy when the opposition gets it in there. Can't have Sharman and Membry without King. Fair call. Big ups Wilson, keeps running all day. Wilson was fantastic. He was the only one that wanted to use his speed. I thought Brad Hill was pretty good again. He's been, I think, saner of the round the last 2 weeks, so full credit to Brad Hill. He's backed it up again. So I think he's due a bit of love as well, because I know he's had a bit of his, his sort of haters over the last couple of years. Let's go through a few more. Comment your thoughts, Sainers. There's 500 of you watching. So quick plug, follow us on Instagram at Saints TV Pod and on YouTube. Subscribe, please. We want to get to, what are we on? Nearly on 11,000. Please help us get there. But comment your thoughts. What's the biggest thing that we need to improve the most going into the next 3 weeks? Because to be honest, if we play like we do tonight, I mean, in terms of intensity, in terms of, that sort of attitude, we got North, we got Hawthorn, we got Freo. They're all winnable. They are all winnable. And if we do that, we go to 5-5 at round 10. And given the way we've played, I'll take 5-5 any day of the week. Any less than that, I think 4-6 is a bit shit. 5-5 I'll take. What's the biggest thing that we need to fix going into next week? Greg's not too upset. 10 points. I don't know. Christos Poo needs a spell in the twos. He's been off this year. I'm glad he got his goal, though. I still think that he's better forward. And Owens is in the midfield. I hate that I see the opposite every week. I'm not a coach. I don't ever say that I know more than Ross. But don't we all agree? Doesn't Owens seem like the dusty Paddy Cripps prototype? They likened him to Nat 5 preseason. I know Nat 5 goes forward and kicks goals, but did that later in his career. The start of his career as a fucking gun midfielder. Put him in there. The crunch time, especially when you're missing Brad Crouch, you're missing Hunter Clark, you're missing Paddy Dow. We're missing a lot of grunt in the midfield. Put him in there. Filippo is a natural born goal kicker in my eyes. I think he would even say it himself. So put him closer to goal. A lot of comments, guys. Thanks so much. I know. It just kind of feels like that, doesn't it? Alan says junk time goals. To be honest, a lot of people think we're actually very high up on the junk time goals list. I'm going to just tell you now, I saw a ladder of it the other day. Port are the worst. We're actually 4th best for junk time goals in the competition. We don't give away many. This damn cough. Ooh, fine at 11. Yep. I might have a chat to him soon, get him on the show. That'd be awesome. The quick handball after a mark didn't come off much this week. No, it didn't. I think our timing of our handballs was shocking. We try to, I guess, take advantage of the man on the mark, but some of our handballs were just behind the player or too late or too obvious. We don't disguise them well. So these are things that we need to improve. Composure with the ball. Don't cough up the first option. What else we got? Must improve tackles, forward 50 entries, red time goals. They don't seem to be working for each other. Team is just, tonight I thought they tried. I thought there was some composure. In terms of team chemistry. Need to take on the game. What are your ins and outs next week, Zainers? Before I cough my lungs out. Actually, I might wrap it up there, Zainers. My Ooh, my throat's going nuts. So on that note, disappointing loss, 10 points, Port Adelaide. Get to Marvel next week, North Melbourne. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, Zana. Sorry to rush off. I'm just not feeling too good. All the best for the rest of your weekend. Disappointing loss. And yeah, 2-5. Tough start. Go Saints.